Hey cultivator, welcome back to my channel. So today I want to actually address the coronavirus because I know it has got the entire United States and the world in a panic, and a lot of you guys are wondering, how does this affect my employment or my job search, and the inevitable, are we going to hit a global recession? So I am not a financial expert by any means, and I'm also not a health expert, but I am an expert in everything career. So I want to go ahead and just address some of the top things that you can be considering and doing, both as an employed person as well as an active job seeker. So let's dive in and go through some of these tips that I highly encourage you implement so that you can recession proof yourself as quickly as possible, and also to make sure you're well positioned until things go back to normal. All right, so as of March 15, 2020, there have been numerous reports of toilet paper, paper towels, and groceries just flying off the shelves. So I want to say that first and foremost, don't panic. Anytime there's panic amongst a global population, that's never a good thing. But if you are currently employed right now, what is actually more important than all of those essentials at the grocery store, which by the way gets restocked up every week, is to leverage and take advantage of your healthcare insurance, your dental, your vision. If your employer is currently subsidizing your plans or you have benefits, I would actually take the month of March to go get checkups. Go see your doctor, do your annual checkups, really make sure that your whole health system is okay. But also just know that in the case there is actually a recession, Cobra is really, really expensive. So when you're paying out of pocket for insurance, it's going to cost way more than all of your groceries and toilet paper for an entire 5 years combined. So take advantage of that right now. That's actually where your best use of your time and energy is spent, rather than fixating on what are the daily or weekly needs in the next coming weeks, right? I highly recommend healthcare and just making sure that you're all examined and all is good. Okay, next up, let's talk about social distancing at work. A lot of companies have already implemented work from home schedules, which is great. And if your company hasn't gotten on board yet, or maybe you're in a position that doesn't allow you to work from home, then perhaps you ask for staggering schedule, whether it's you come in early, leave early, or come in later compared to the rest of the team and leave later, or even staggering your lunchtime. Instead of the normal 11 to 12, perhaps you ask if you can go from 2 to 3, and just really make sure that you are taking care of yourself and following all of the healthcare guidelines, meaning you are not getting in close proximity with anyone, you're not doing the formal handshake, but maybe a fist bump or an elbow bump instead, and sanitizing your entire workstation. I would definitely have Clorox wipes and just wipe down everything, anything that you're touching, including doorknobs, just continuously wipe them down because you want to make sure that you're taking care of yourself first and foremost. All right, tip number 3 I have for those of you who are employed currently is to start putting together your job search materials. Update that resume, update that LinkedIn, start building out your networking strategy. Again, even if you're currently employed, the best time to job search is while you're employed. And even if a recession is coming, I just want to emphasize that people are always being hired during recessions. The thought of everything being on a hiring freeze or everything crashing is a myth. There's always companies still running and operating in business during times of recession. But the only way you can get those is if you're well equipped and prepared. By the way, if you guys are needing job search support and want to take out the guesswork of 2020 job searching, be sure to look in the description box down below for the link to all of my job search programs. I will walk you from A to Z and just give you all of the comprehensive tools and strategies that will get you there as quickly as possible. And that's a perfect segue into my tips I have for you if you are currently a job seeker who is actively job searching, whether it's you're unemployed, you're underemployed, or you've been just looking to make a change for some time. Just know that you can absolutely find a job in any climate, any recession. If you think about it, even in 2008, 2009, there were companies that were hiring. So just know that first and foremost, it is not hopeless, although it might feel that way. And I know you might be feeling fearful or really anxious about this entire situation, especially because of the uncertainty. But I've been polling a lot of recruiters and hiring managers, and they do tell me that they are continuing to hire. So there's not an entire hiring freeze. And again, I just want to be the voice that when I graduated from college in 2009, my law firm was on a hiring freeze, but I ended up finding another full-time job for the online education industry, which was thriving at that time. Just know that at any point, our economy has ups and downs, and some industries will lead others, and that's totally fine. There's going to be an opportunity waiting for you. So let me also caveat this with one really helpful tip, which is just knowing that a lot of people are fearful of making a move. There are people who are getting job offers right now, but they're afraid to leave their current companies because they're afraid that if there is a recession, they're going to be the first to be let go, given that they're the new hire. So because of that, it's actually less competitive right now. There's less applicants for the jobs that are available. And that is a really great thing for those of you who have been out of employment or feeling underemployed for some time. Tip number 2 I have for you is to get really comfortable with video interviewing. A lot of the companies I've polled and surveyed have shared that their hiring is continuously ramping up. However, they are no longer bringing candidates on site, and in lieu of that, they are just having Skype or FaceTime or Zoom calls or whatever other platform to get to know the candidate. So if you're looking for tips on how to ace your video interviews, then you can check out this video. I'll link up here. All right, tip number 3 I have for you, and this is probably the most painful one, is to be patient. I know a lot of you pre-coronavirus outbreak were saying that hiring timelines just take forever these days, and maybe you interviewed for a role a month ago and still haven't heard a status update. But we must understand and really acknowledge the fact that now with this coronavirus outbreak, companies are really separated, right? A lot of employers are working remotely, yet they're still communicating cross-functionally, and they're still trying to get their communication channels down. So if you thought things were slow before, just multiply that by 2 and also multiply your patience by 2, because the only thing you can really control is your follow-up. I always say follow up once after you haven't heard back given the expected timeline that you were supposed to hear back, and then just let it be. Start to focus on other opportunities, because there are many more opportunities out there, and the best position you can be in is having multiple competing offers. And finally, don't forget to continue building your relationship capital. Your relationships are going to be your greatest currency in all of this. For those that are in my job search programs, you know I'm currently having you reach out to your potential hiring managers, to your potential colleagues, because now is the time to do it. While things are slower in certain companies, right? People are working remote. Instead of going through that hustle and bustle come Monday, a lot of people are just finding themselves socially distancing from everybody and having so much more headspace and having so much more downtime and just more relaxation and peace of mind during this period. And so it's actually the best opportunity to start building those relationships and networking. Now, I also want to emphasize that everything in this economy is cyclical, right? If you look back at the stock market, you could actually even see like the week view, it's gone up and down, up and down. You could see the year view or the 5-year view or the 10-year view. It's generally gone up and down, up and down, up and down. And the same will happen. So even right now, as we're experiencing some dips, just right around the corner, there's going to be an up, right? And it's really important for us to recognize that everything that is happening right now is very temporary. But what we do today will really determine the outlook of our future. So take this opportunity, the slower time of the economy, to really start to get intentional and build out your strategy and plan. If you need help with networking or any of the other job search strategies, be sure to look down at the description box below. I have the links to my job search programs, and you can learn all about the tactics and the strategies needed in 2020 to make sure that you beat out all of the other candidates in any economy. I don't care if we're hitting a recession, people are still working during recessions, people are still getting hired during recessions. Will you be one of them is the question. And I sure hope so, by putting in the steps that I talked about in this video, and also recognizing that what you can control is your reaction and your responses to everything that is going on around you. I told my students earlier today that we can't control what is happening around us, right, in terms of the spread of the pandemic or who's being infected and so forth. But what we can control is how we show up on a day-to-day, what we want to believe and like to believe, and how we want to act and respond to that. So that is my goal for you, to not so much get paralyzed by all the fear and the anxiety and the uncertainty, but instead start to be proactive and start to lay out the groundwork so that you can make sure that you have recession proofed yourself, versus what I see so many job seekers do, which is start job searching only when they need a job. And usually that was like, shoot, I just got laid off, I need a job tomorrow. But it doesn't happen that way. Most job search processes take 90 days on average. And that's exactly why they tell most Americans to save up at least 6 months of bills, because you want to make sure that you're okay if there's a case of an emergency, right? But a lot of us haven't done that. And so we must start to think about what we need to do today. How do we start to invest in our future today so that we can reap those rewards? Let me know down in the comment box below what your thoughts on the coronavirus is, what your concerns are, what you have been experiencing in the workplace or in your job search as a whole. I'd love to read your comments and just have a healthy discussion around how we can make sure we are taking the time to take care of ourselves first and foremost, and just making sure we're practicing safety and staying safe in all of this, and also being kind and compassionate, not just to ourselves but to others around us. I hope that you continue to cultivate your life and career, and I can't wait to see where you land in your next career.